He's a Pisces like me. He's born like right before me too. It's crazy. Is an American convicted murderer and death row inmate known for removing both of his eyeballs in separate incidents and ingesting one of them. He removed one of his eyeballs and ate one of them. In 2004, Andre Thomas killed his estranged wife, Laura Boren, his 4-year-old son, and her 1-year-old daughter in Sherman, Texas. That's crazy that he had a 4-year-old son with her and she had a 1-year-old daughter with someone else. He cut open the chests of all three victims and removed the two children's corazones. Wow, that is. His motives was hallucination caused by mental illness and drug abuse. He's on death row. Wow. Thomas, whose mental health problems began with auditory hallucinations at about age 10, was in the ninth grade when Boren became pregnant with his child. They married when Thomas was 18, but they separated soon thereafter in the weeks leading up to the murders. Okay. Clearly, Thomas had suicidal thoughts, drank heavily, and used cold medication as a recreational drug, lean. In jail, a few days after his arrest, Thomas pulled one of his eyes out of his socket. A jury rejected his insanity defense and sentenced him to death on capital murder conviction. In 2008, he removed his other eye and ate it. Thomas was diagnosed with schizophrenia after his arrest. And his after, Thomas, let me read that one more time because it gets very important because I kind of skimmed through this before I got to this. It gets very important that we read that one more time after hearing what he just did to them and himself. Because if do you remember? Do I got to the quick playback before we read that line? He unalived his wife, the children, opened them up, and removed their organs. He went to jail a week after and removed and pulled his eye out the socket. 4 years later, we don't have to get to 4 years later when he did the other eye. We still have the first eye. Then they had said he's schizophrenic. Let's go on. His case has raised ethical questions about executing the mentally ill. I am not at that point with it. Send him up. His trial verdict was upheld by a state criminal appeals court in 2008 and by a federal appeals court in 2021. While he is still under a death sentence, Thomas is housed in a Texas prison facility for inmates with psychiatric problems. Because, of course, he got psychiatric problems now. He's the dude from Oz now. Remember the dude who was supposed to cut the guard in Oz, but he ain't do it. So he wound up doing that to himself? Thomas was born on March 17, 1983. We're going to skip that. Despite his, okay, look, Thomas' family had problems with substance abuse and violence 10 years before Thomas was born. Doesn't matter. His uncle was fatally shot by Thomas' grandmother's husband. Wow. His uncle was shot by his grandfather. So, despite his domestic disadvantages, Thomas seemed to thrive for the first few. Yeah. Skip all that. We not trying. I hate when they give us the beginning story that don't matter. When Thomas was around 10 years old, his behavior changed. He told some of his schoolmates that he heard angels and demons arguing in his head. At 10, he said that. After his arrest, they said, yeah, he's schizophrenic. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? At 10, he said he had demons and angels arguing in his head. But after the arrest is when they said he's schizophrenic. Okay, so at one point he said he was raiding a fictional character from the video game Mortal Kombat, and he appeared to be sincere in his claim. He started drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana, which may have been an attempt to quiet. They don't know. He started drinking and smoking. Don't say that. This whole other part is quote unquote, which may have been an attempt to slow the voices. He was placed on probation at 12. By the time he was 13, he made 2 suicide attempts by mutilating his wrists. He had a series of arrests around age 15, including one for stealing a car. He was placed on suicide watch after developing suicidal thoughts during a short stay in juvenile detention. but he did not receive ongoing mental health services. But he did not receive ongoing mental health services following his release. After Thomas had began dating Laura for several years, oh, she was 6 years older than him. She should have knew better. For several years, she became pregnant and gave birth. Oh, my fault. I read it wrong. After Thomas had been dating Laura Boren for several years, because they put a parentheses in it, she became pregnant and then gave birth in August 1999 to a baby they named Andre Jr. Poor baby. You got to change your name, bro. You can't live your father's name out. It is what it is. That happens sometime. After which, Thomas dropped out of high school in the ninth grade. Got a GED. He got a high school equivalency diploma. It wasn't the GED back then. It was two different kinds. It was the GED wasn't for no dropping out in ninth grade. That he got the pregnancy. He got the maternal fraternal diploma from back then, and worked several job so that he could support his baby. He married Boren on his 18th birthday in 2001. Oh, I thought that said 89. That's a 99. That was a GED. Born birthday in 2000. She was 17. Thomas and Boren lived together briefly at Thomas' mother's house. I don't get it. He was born. How is she 6 years older than him? If she, I think they had a misquote there because I could have sworn he's not my age. He's freaking like 10 years older than me or something like that. But we got like a close birthday. I think they messed up a birth date somewhere where I was reading. Because I said she's 6 years older than him. She should know better. But I think it's just a miss thing. I think they meant to put a date and not his birth date. So let me continue. 2 weeks after they got married, Thomas' mother forced them to move out of her house. At that point, Boren and her son, Lauren, I'm going to call her Laura. Her name's Laura Boren. They keep using her last name. Come on, we need to use first names or we'll never understand. Boren and her son moved in with her parents, while Thomas moved in with one of his brothers. Then they separated for about 4 months into their marriage. Laura later moved in with a new boyfriend, and they had a child, Leah Hughes, in February 2003. After this marriage broke up, after his marriage broke up, Thomas experienced more intense. They are separating it so stupidly. After his marriage broke up, just say after the divorce, Thomas experienced more because it's going to sound like he was with somebody else and she was with somebody else. They're talking about him being with her and she's already with somebody else. His obsessions over apocalyptic concepts in the book of Revelations, and he had a difficulty keeping a job. I don't get what they meant by that. Did I miss a line? After the divorce, Thomas experienced more intense delusions and suicidal thoughts. He obsessed over I keep messing up. He obsessed over apocalyptic concepts in the book of Revelations, and he had difficulty keeping a job. Thomas was accused of stabbing his brother during a fight, but was not indicted, and his brother was committed for psychiatric treatment. Living on his own, Thomas had difficult. Oh, that's hilarious. That's not hilarious. Thomas moved in with his brother and stabbed his brother. His brother had to go get psychiatric help, so now he got the crib to himself. Living on his own, Thomas had difficulty keeping the utilities paid, so Laura began limiting the amount of visitation with his son. Thomas, that's funny as hell, but that's fucked up, but that's funny as hell. You can't keep the lights on, you don't need no kids over there. So Thomas had began to believe that his estranged wife was a Jezebel, and that's what it says, and that's what it says, a Jezebel, and that his son was the Antichrist, and he thought that the meaning of life was contained in a message within the images on a U.S. dollar bill, and he said he was experiencing deja vu. He would sometimes cover his mouth with duct tape and refuse to speak to his family. That's stupid. In the spring of 2004, still struggling with long-standing alcohol abuse and psychological difficulties, Andre Thomas began engaging in the recreational use of coricidin cold medication. On March 5th, oh God, see his birthday is March 17th, my birthday March 7th, and then he doing drugs on March 5th, and they got it. Why he had to be a Pisces? Why he had to be on my side of the fence? A friend escorted him to a mental health clinic where Thomas told the staff that he would step in front of a bus if he could not speak to someone. Clinic staff told him to go to the emergency room and they had a judge prepare an emergency detention order. Thomas did not report to the emergency room that day. About 3 weeks later, Thomas stabbed himself in the chest and went to the emergency room at Texoma Medical Center in nearby Denison. He told hospital personnel that he was trying to cross over into heaven. When the wound was determined not to be life-threatening, and an emergency psychiatric commitment. While these arrangements were being made, walked out of the hospital. The physician notified the Denison Police Department that Thomas might be dangerous, but they apparently had no contact with Thomas, who walked the few miles to his home in Sherman. So he walked a few miles from the hospital to his house in Sherman. Oh, I thought about my headphone case. To Sherman. Where the headphones at? I need them. Oh, man.
They was on the bed.
I know. They be turning off.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm using them.
I just didn't want him to fuck with them. That's
I hope the sticker still got me. Hold on, Blaze. That's the doggy. You hear the doggy barking. Blaze, this is an interruption. All right, yeah. Here, fight the wheel. Okay, back to it. Murder, and it has to again be in March. March 27, 2004, but that's not the Pisces side of March. Y'all can have that. That's basically February. 2 days after coming to the America, because we don't accept February Pisces neither. It's straight March. Pisces lasts for 2 weeks. It's only in March. Thomas went to Laura's third floor apartment and kicked the door open. Come on. Laura's boyfriend was at work, but Laura was at home with the 2 kids. That's how he got her. Thomas fatally stabbed her, cut open her chest, and pulled out a portion of her lung, thinking he was actually removing her heart. He went to the bedroom shared by the 4-year-old son and Laura's 13-month-old daughter. He fatally stabbed both children and cut out their hearts out of their chests. After he unalived the children, Thomas stabbed himself 3 times in the chest, expecting to die from his wounds. Thomas went into the living room and lay next to Lauren's body. Where he realized he was not dying, he placed the victim's organs in his pockets and walked to his house. Once he returned home, he placed the organs in a bag, threw it in the trash. Thomas called his wife's parents and left a voicemail. This is what it said. Sherry, this is Audrey. I need y'all help. Something bad is happening to me, and it keeps happening, and I don't know what's going on. I need some help. I think I'm in hell. I need help. Somebody help. Somebody needs to come and help me. I need help bad. I'm desperate. I'm afraid to go to sleep. So when you get this message, come to the house. Come by the house, please. Hello? Thomas turned himself in at the Sherman Police Department, telling police officers that he thought God wanted him to kill the victims. He said he killed each victim with a separate knife because he thought there were demons inside the victims. If the victim's blood was allowed to mix, he reasoned that then the demons might survive. Thomas was taken to a hospital and underwent chest surgery. Should have let him bleed out. 5 days out, I'm just saying what people thinking and taxpayers don't want to have to deal with. This seems like it should be an eye for an eye. Oh, that seems unnice to say. My bad. 5 days after the murders, while Thomas was in jail awaiting trial, he removed his right eye with his bare hands. According to one source, he had been reading the Bible when he came to Matthew 5:29, which said, if your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out. Another source said that after pulling the eye out, he quoted Mark 9:47, and if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. It is better to enter the kingdom of God with one eye than to have 2 eyes and be thrown into hell. Psychologists interviewed Thomas to determine his competence to stand trial, and they diagnosed Thomas schizophrenic. In what year was this? Because way back when he was 10, if anybody, I can't see the way I got the screen, I can't see, but I can see a name or two there. But if anybody remembers in the beginning, it clearly said at 10, he said he heard angels and demons. They should have been started doing something about it back then. I'm just saying. So, after Thomas spent 47 days in a hospital, Joseph Black wrote to the court that Thomas has drug-induced psychosis, saying that he was competent and he might attempt to exaggerate his mental illness by engaging in self-harm. Can I have something to drink, please? Oh, I got tea right here. Give me 1 second. My mouth mad dry. 1 second, 1 second. I don't mean to mess the story up like that. 1 second, 1 second. My bad, my bad. It's always a bad DJ. Mess up the song, throw the freaking turntable on the ground by accident. I was just telling her when I was at a party and I thought I could dance and I knocked over the DJ table. In New York, when you messed up the DJ set back in the day, or the DJ messed up, the whole crowd, whole party started chanting, "Kill the DJ! Kill the DJ!" All right, back to it. The dog thought I was calling him. He want to come back up here. Skip all that. February 15th, 2005, Thomas' murder trial began. He was only tried for the death of Boren's daughter. Thomas, who is black and had been in an interracial relationship with Boren, faced an all-white jury. We're not trying to hear that. Skip that. Schedule execution. That's what we're trying to get to. Because we know what he did. We know what he did. We know what he did to all of them. We know what he did to himself. We know the story. Let's see. Pardon my cough. Some little kid got me sick. I'm about to come badass. On November 11th, 2022, Thomas was scheduled for execution for April 5th, 2023. On March 7th, my birthday, 2023, State District Judge Jimmy Fallon delayed the execution date. Wait, get to the other eye. Get to the other eye. I wanted to read y'all about the other eye. The other eye is crazy because they separate the stories so crazy. They make you read so much fluff. We want to read the good parts. That'd be wrong with YouTube too. YouTubers that be letting people see all the talking too much. I don't even want to talk too much. I ain't want to tell you that. I'm just trying to talk till I get to the other eye. I want to read it rather than tell what happened. Thomas' attorney put forward an insanity defense. The state said that Thomas' mental illness was caused by worsened by drug use, and the cited Texas law invalidates an insanity defense if the mental conditions was a result of voluntary intoxication. While the defense said that Thomas' removal of his own eye showed that he was insane, prosecutors said that the eye incident was indicative of an impulsive act than insanity. Thomas was convicted and given a death sentence. After receiving his death sentence, Thomas was sent to Pulaski Unit, Texas. Come on. In America, we got to start using the very American things. Like, man, Pulaski, what is that? Send him to the crazy unit in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice that houses male death row inmates. He said he continued to hear voices and that he saw 6-inch tall demons coming out of the prison walls and playing music from the band Queen. He attempted suicide in July 2008, this time by cutting into the front of his neck with a sharp object. The wound requires 8 stitches. In October 2008, the Texas Court Criminal Appeals upheld Thomas' conviction in a concurrent opinion. Judge Kathy Cochran wrote, should I read what she wrote? I thought they took my tea just now. The judge wrote, we don't really care. We want to get to his eye. So on December 9th, yeah, like I'm sorry, I'm not here to give you fluff. I'm sorry, I'm here to give you the good. I'm here to give you the stuff and not the fluff or the bluff. On December 9th, 2008, Thomas removed his left eye and ate it. Thomas had said he ingested his eye to prevent the United States federal government from reading his thoughts. He was treated at a hospital in Tyler and then transferred to TDC jail. Oh, God. And then transferred back to the jail where he was at. Texas prisoners with mental health problems. Thomas's trial attorney said she was glad that Thomas would finally get the psychiatric care that he had been requesting. In early 2020, Thomas' case was brought before the United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit. Attorney Catherine Carroll said that Thomas' original legal representation was ineffective as his trial attorneys failed to object to the selection of the three jurors with a bias against interracial marriages. That's true. She also said that, but at the same time, he's guilty for this. We don't mean that. America got to stop with this. Somebody who's guilty for a crime and you know it, or somebody who got caught doing something on camera, we not about to have no grand jury. We gonna have a special court for that. You, when it's on camera, you are going to get your sentence. All you could do is plea in front of a township of your peers. So it gotta be is a bunch of people, maybe the heads of these whatever of your people. Like, oh, he got caught burglarizing and doing this. Now you over here trying to lie, talk about, oh, I was just trying to find a place to stay. Now your community get to say whether you're gonna do a year, 2 years, 3 years, what you gonna do. Give him 4 months in jail, and when he come out, he gotta clean the community for the next 6 months, or he go back to jail for a whole year. Fuck it. We gotta have shit like that. And all of this is tax free. All of that people doing crime on camera, people doing crime like this and claiming and saying, no, we not about to waste taxpayer money for this. It's you're guilty. Why does people that's guilty need defense attorneys? That's corrupt. That leads to corruption. You know you defended somebody who did it. You up here just lying, trying to get them free off technicalities. You hope the judge don't say a word or the prosecutors misspell something so you could get him off. Like, that's stupid. He's a rapist. I don't care if they didn't Mirandize him. He did it. Let me be a cop. They need to do. Let me be a cop. The Miranda, I'm slap the shit out the back of your head. I ain't Mirandizing shit. What? He robbed you? He robbed you? He got my purse. I'm gonna use the baton. That's what's wrong with cops. They gotta be like Judge Dredd. Cops gotta be like Judge Dredd. If a lady or like the iRobot cop, somebody take the purse, man, I'm gonna get the purse back. We gotta go into court for this. You're going to the hospital. Your leg is broke, and we not calling the ambulance for you. You don't get an ambulance. If somebody stops you in the mission of a crime, and you get injured, you have to walk to the hospital on your own validity. You don't get none of those amenities. That's how it gotta be. We gotta stop mixing the good with the bad. Andre Thomas didn't deserve trials and shit like that. I mean, earlier in life, there was signs and stuff, and if we had the perfect world, when he was 10, they would have got him the help he needed. But they didn't, and it grew to when he turned however old he was, he slaughtered his ex. See, this is the thing about young love too, and people got to stop letting their kids and people rush into young love because you with this dude, you marry this dude, you have a kid for this dude, you divorce this, you break up with him within the marriage, y'all separate. Problem is, y'all was so in love, y'all got married, y'all could never get away from each other. He felt like you my wife, even when like I don't want to be with you, I hate you, I'm out. You my wife, and he's already delusional. You're my wife. I'm with somebody else. I'm pregnant. I had another baby. My wife? That's the Antichrist. That's the Antichrist? That's the blood of Jesus. I gotta go put it in a cup. You're already dealing with delusion of grandeur here. So that's why we gotta protect our children. Can't let them run into young love. It's a video on Instagram called Slime Facts. It's a video of a girl doing telekinesis with her boyfriend. He has them literally waving their hands at aluminum foil, and when it moves, he's like, "That's the power of the mind." I could tell he isolates her from her family because the only way a young girl that comes from any sort of family can be okay with doing stupid shit is if a man is leading her into doing it. Her man specifically, who she trusts and loves. Then when she realized he ain't on a crumb, she gotta go get better and go do for herself. But she was so caught up in his love spell that they're married. So now that when you break up with him, it's not a breakup. You have to divorce. You don't just break up when you marry. You have to divorce. I gotta stretch my legs. I don't want nobody to see me flip my legs and think I'm flapping my legs like I'm talking on the phone to a girl. Sometimes you gotta stretch to get the blood flowing. So you can't just leave because now that you're in another relationship, you're actually cheating on your husband, who's already crazy. Now he's going crazier. He's triggered. He's going crazier. Now he thinking he's the prophet Messiah. He think he's the vampire slayer from the angel. He think he that one. And now he does an egregious act to you, horrific act to your child, and a horrendous act to your baby. I want to look up as a follow up to the story. I want to find and look up the baby father to the that's one. I don't know. I wish I could talk to him. I got mad questions for him. Like he Thomas came to the house while he was at work. All that he was crazy stuff. That don't fit the bill. It don't fit the bill because he did too much. He did too much. But I think that's the story. That was just my little. Yeah, because I think that's the story. Yeah. He cut out that second eye and ate it so that they wouldn't read his thoughts. He crazy now? He wasn't crazy before he did it. He was crazy in love. Crazy like a menace. But that's my time. Shout to y'all for being with me. These Islam facts. Shout out to y'all. Thank y'all, man. Cool.